that's a
whatever.
board decision, but, because we're small, so we're like 53 people, 54 people. So we're a little, so we're considered small. How many? I'm sorry, we're at 60 now, so we're at 60 employees. And so if we decide to partner, but that's a whole lot of memorandum understanding and their board, but I don't know, I haven't had a conversation with
I mean,
Phelps.
insurance is insurance, you know, they're gonna get a rate and that's it.
Okay, so that's an easy thing to say, but your risk is there because Phelps has linemen where they're getting up and doing
Oh.
lines and getting electrocuted. So their risk factor is higher than ours. I don't have very many people who get up on lines and cut high electricity. And Mr. Dibble, you probably can understand that they have a bigger risk factor than the city of Floresville. So the more risk that you have,
Just
the
look at
higher
it.
rates. I'll look into it and see what we can do to
Yeah,
partner.
again, going back to the fact that we can look at it as we get into budget.
Budget time is the time to do so.
Okay. All right, anything else on that?
So you cannot bring anybody in before?
We can bring in some potential, but no, we don't start shopping until July because that's the time for the cycle. That's the cycle. But I can definitely let Mr. Kelly know, and we can look into partnership, and we can look into broadening our reach of where we're going, okay? Definitely what we had for last year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item 2E, annual racial profiling report. We have our chief.
Good evening, council. Before you should have been provided a form on the racial profiling. Basically what this is, it's an annual report that we are required to provide to the council. It does break it down into, if you flip the first page over, it does break it down into many areas, from gender to race to ethnicity, all the way down to whether or not it was a citation, a warning, an arrest. But like I said, we are in compliance with the racial profiling report. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. But like I said, it's a yearly thing we have to do, is to report and provide y'all with the report.
Council, do y'all have any questions for the chief? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 3A, consideration action to approve the Floresville Little League Youth Sports Agreement for 2019.
I'll make a motion.
There's a motion on the floor, but I do want, hold on. I do want to let the Little League speak before we actually finish.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you so much for having us here again. Would like to thank you again for being out there last Saturday for our opening day. It was wonderful. It was a great success. We really appreciate all the work you've done to make that a wonderful opportunity and success for our kiddos and our families. One question and one concern we had come up this past week was trash. As board members, we all did our duty and picked up after the games on Saturday as much as we could, and we know it's your responsibility to come and take those trash receptacles and empty them. So we kind of want to be assured that,
Yes.
is there a schedule for that?
Well, what happened was the staff member that was there working, he was off on that Monday, didn't get to empty care, so we were able to take care of those receptacles right away.
Is there a schedule for that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, is there any way you can share that, or at least tell us kind of ballpark what figure, just so if there's any other
They're going to
concerns?
empty you're talking about the ones that were empty, the actually after.
Yeah, just,
Yeah, they're going to do that after every game. So every morning before you all even get out there in the morning, that's the first thing they're going to do. And I'm bringing staff off of them and to make sure that they empty all the receptacles. There's more than a one-man show that empty all those.
okay, wonderful, because we did receive a lot of candid comments about that. So, other than that, we do appreciate your supplies for the bathrooms and restrooms. I personally refilled some, so, on Saturday, so I just want to let you know, thank you for that, and hope that
And we really,
continues.
we have to work out those bugs and we're ready to do this new schedule for us. I was there and thank you so much. You all look so nice in your shirts and I cut up the little articles. But I think that this is something that we can go back and forth and we're doing really well. And I think Summer did a really good job on the concession
They
stand.
should- they should do.
But the crowd seemed to be bigger this year than last.
It is, we have more kids, so that's what we hope to keep doing, so.
Thank you for working with us. So on that note, I have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
A motion and a second. Thank you, Mr. Jimenez, I did remember that. I have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mayor and Councilman.
That's interesting. Thank you so much. You can email that contact information about that, I want the research, send me that.
Moving on to item 3B, consideration and action to approve resolution 2019-007 for the Wilson Area Children's Foundation 2019 Cowboy Breakfast. Mr. Lou Rosenberg is in attendance.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. See if we can boil this down to 20 years. We've been at it 17, and it seems like a long time since started this 4 years after we adopted Sarah, and Sarah's now teaching school. This is the resolution and the flyer. The resolution, most of you have seen. I think I'll give you my only copy, because I'll get there for you. And you have a copy for your copy. All right, the short and dirty of this is this. The Cowboy Breakfast is moved to the Civic Center. This is your center for the larger community. And we start at 7 o'clock on the 27th of April. We do this every year on the 4th Saturday, and it lasts until 10 o'clock. We have breakfast, all you can eat. It's at $10 at the door, or you get a table for $500, or half a table for $250, $300. What we're using the money for is we do preschool clothing, back to school. We do it the second week after the tax-free. And this year we spent about $8,500 in 4 school districts for going back to school clothing. This is all done courtesy working with Walmart. We do back to school, back for Christmas and Christmas and Thanksgiving. And then the other big program that we're working on this year is scholarships for people that want to do trade school and stay in the county. And we're doing 10 of those scholarships this year for a first time. They'll be divvied up to the school districts in turn. So we'd ask your support and your help for the tables, for those sales, and I know the city's going to take a table. We ask the resolution to be passed in support of this. We're especially interested in trying to get those kids in this community that don't have the capacity to go to A&M or to go to UT, to give them assist in their own trade work that they might have if they want to be a CDL driver, if they want to do something in the oil patch, or if they want to do something to stay in the county. So that's what we're all about, and I'd be glad to answer questions. I think there's been enough discussion.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion on the floor to accept resolution, to approve resolution 2019-007. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Second. Seconded by Mrs. Martinez. All those in favor, please raise your right hand, and I will read that. A resolution of the City of Floresville, Texas, in support of the Wilson Area Children's Foundation's 17th Annual R&R Cowboy Breakfast, Saturday, April 27, 2019, at the Floresville Event Center from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Thank you so much, Mr. Rosenberg.
Thank you for everything y'all do.
Thank you.
First responders do get in free if they're in uniform, or vets if they'll show they've got a card.
Great.
And the city has bought a table, so you just let the city secretary know you're interested in getting a ticket.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to item 3C, consideration and action to, consideration and action to approve creating the position of Assistant Chief of Police and filling the position. Chief?
Hello again. Before you, you should have a copy of some information I provided you with. And again, the reason I am here is to ask for your support and approval in creating the assistant chief position as we previously were operating with a few months back. If you direct your attention to this form here, the first one, that is more or less an approximate figure of police salaries that were saved by replacing, or some of the officers resigning and replacing them by said officers to the far left of your page. If you'll look at the departure date and the weekly salary, these calculations were figured from May 30th all the way to March 15th of 2019. 2018 of May 30th to March 15, 2019. And to the far right, you can see the totals that were actually saved by replacement of these officers. And in some cases, there was an officer that was promoted, and that particular officer that was promoted was replaced by another officer. So if you'll see to the far right, you'll see the difference in pay, and that's how we figured. And the reason we're calculating this weekly is because I understand we get paid bi-weekly, but the reason this is calculated weekly was because of the time frame of the officers that were working at the time. They didn't basically complete a full week. And of course, the bottom savings is to the bottom, approximate savings. If you go to your second page, I mentioned the name of the officers that departed and the replacement officers that came in their place. And of course, I'm asking for your support in creating this position, re-implementing it in our department for the simple reason, because I'd like to continue on as we once were before. If you'll look at the third page, that explains you the duties of the assistant chief, and by me, if it is approved, I will realign the lieutenant's position, or not the position, but the duties. We are going to be concentrating on more stuff that has been happening within our city.
Any questions from the council to the chief?
One other thing, the salary of the assistant chief is technically, it's based on y'all's approval. I did propose a 1% above the lieutenant's pay, but again, there was some question on that, so that is, I'll leave that part up to y'all guys. That's what the CBA states.
Any comments, questions?
May I have a moment, ma'am?
Yes.
There's many questions here that council has to know and the community has to know why you really wanted an assistant chief of police.
Okay, I'll read along here, as anticipated duties were to assist on a day-to-day basis that are normally done at the police department to enhance the streamlined existing process within the patrol division and criminal investigation division. Of course, he'll be overseeing the CID part of it, and after speaking with Mr. Hayden, he has some ideas that he wants to integrate into the department, which are new investigative tools that we can utilize, as far as the resource is concerned, and to oversee the training of all PD officers so that we can be in compliance, not that we're not in compliance with T-Code, but to keep better track of it. Also assist on a day-to-day operations with municipal, county, state, and federal levels. Also concentrate on our local warrants, which we are having somewhat of issues with, or stockpiling of them. We can also do that. And again, several other day-to-day
Right.
operations in our department.
And tell the council what's going to become of this, our lieutenant? Is he going to be moved to?
My plans for the lieutenant is for him to focus more on criminal activity that is taking place within our city. Right now, of course, we have that happening day to day. But as far as like him gathering intelligence and talking to confidential informants or whatever he might be doing, he'll have more time to do that. I even have plans for him not to operate as he was before through HIDA, but for him to go out and do interdictions maybe once or twice a week, or once or twice a month, hit our local interstates with the local agreement with our district attorney. And of course, hopefully we'll come across some funds with that,
Right, I support this, but, and it's good. My main concern is like you said, in the city, the majority of the time, and concentrate on our drugs. This country and this state and the city is infested with drugs. So that's this past, year, we've had a terrible year, with drugs. And my concern is drugs, and I support this. But it's up to the council to decide on those funds, that he wants to go above,
Okay.
the lieutenant. I have a recommendation on that, not to go over the lieutenant because of our funds are not all there. But I do support his assistant chief's position, but not as much as you want those funds. And I have to agree with the council here, we're in a little blind.
I believe that salary is spoken to in the CBA, is that correct too? In the
Yes.
CBA?
Yes.
The amount of assistant chief?
It's actually not posted on the CBA, but it's actually left up to the council to determine the amount.
Right.
If I may, Chief, the CBA does contain the position of the assistant chief of police, but it did not have a salary. It did indicate that the salary was going to be approved by the city council.
And can you tell the council what's, the funds that?
I had proposed 1% above the lieutenant's pay, but the last, not the last time, the Monday or Tuesday, I looked at the salary budget, and I compared it to our current budget, and we do have several $1,000s in there, difference.
What do you need to say?
40,000 to be exact, well, 41,000 plus in our salary.
For this fiscal year?
Yes, sir.
And it's because.
That is in comparison, I compared the salary budget to the current budget that we were provided, and that's the difference that I
And
had.
I've noticed that budget that y'all are below that, half of the funds, which is good.
Yes, even including our overtime. I don't have the budget in front of me, but yes, we're watching that very closely. And now hopefully that we hired these last two officers, because we were short manpower for many months, probably close to a year possibly.
As we speak now, is there a shortage of officers?
No, currently we're up to par.
He's fully staffed.
As far as being fully staffed, yes. We're always in need of officers, because of the crime rate in our.
So how much is 1% over?
Roughly 1% would be, let me give you the exact figure.
Because we've got to talk,
If we do go with 1%, that would be $13,083.21 a year more for his salary, added to his salary.
That's
roughly $500 pay period,
right.
bi-weekly.
First, I would like to ask the council, that we do not have all those funds,
We have to have funny.
And I looked at the budget, and we're tight. The controller can't agree with me on that. But you said that you've saved 40,000
Correct. And compared to,
in comparative.
yes,
Okay. Any other council members have any
Yeah.
comments for the chief? If there's there's no other comments, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'm not ready yet, I'm not done for this motion. We still have to get some things straightened out with the council. I'll be, if they want to ask more questions, and I'm still because to meet 13,000, that's what you want right now, right?
And that would be a 1%
Right.
above the tennis pay.
My recommendation is that we give them 1/3 of that, and then next year, we'll give them the other third. Come CBA, then we'll be aligned with the agreement. And then after that, we will take over that.
Okay.
What's
But how
Is that
about we?
1/3? That's the proposal. All right. Like you said, it's never been about money, sir, but, of course, yeah, 1/3 is 1/3 from above the tennis pay.
Right.
Yes. Go ahead.
Aside from the money, if you'll allow me, Council and Mayor, aside from the money, what you've got to understand is Perry's experience and the fact that he's the only person working for the department that's got a master's degree. So you're not just paying to have an officer fill a role, you're paying to have this individual with his extensive experience, extensive education, handle things that the chief and I are running around daily trying to handle. And excuse my voice, I'm getting a little sick, but you understand my point. It's not just paying for someone to fill a spot. It's to pay for this man with his experience to handle things that need to be handled, move us a little bit forward. And I think that's extremely important, so you needed to know that. Thank you.
I just want to let the council know how I feel, and if y'all want to up it up, that's fine, but.
Councilwoman?
I have a comment before another person. If we're expecting an officer to take on additional duties, and we expect our officer to improve the practices of all of our officers, I would expect for some compensation for that as well. There are some things that we always need to improve on. We can always improve on our practices, and I feel our PD is very open to listening to suggestions from council, from the citizens, and I feel like with this assistant position, we'd be able to improve on our safety for all of our citizens, and I think that's what's most important here. And we need to have the manpower and the resources to do those things.
So we
I wanted to,
Mrs. Cantu?
well, I was gonna say I wanted to make the motion to hire the chief of police with whatever 1%
Assistant chief.
assistant chief.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll take a second by Ms. Jimenez. Any citizens' comments? If not, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Chief, if you'll stay there. Now, our next item, 3D, consideration and action to amend the current city of Floresville organizational chart to include the assistant chief of police position.
I move to amend the current city of Floresville organization chart to include the assistant chief of police position.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. Do I have any citizens' comments? If not, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 3F, consideration and action to appoint members to the Floresville Economic Development Board to include any reappointment or current members' appointment to fill vacancies and/or replace existing members.
Madam Mayor, Mr. Rodriguez was not able to be here during open citizen comments, and since EDC is a subject, he would like to have his citizen comment at this time, if you would so allow him.
Yes, Mr. Rodriguez?
Thank you very much. I'll try to be very quick. I wanted to just basically give you an update real quick on what we've been doing, very quickly. I see the urgency, and I saw it when I first got hired to lead this group of the EDC, and I see the urgency of revenue. You're going to need it. You're short on your budget in certain areas. You're wanting to improve your streets, and you're trying to make some improvements to your city as a whole, to our city as a whole, let me state that. And so my approach has been multitask. I'm working on different projects at one time, and I'd like to tell you just really quickly how that's coming along. What I'm doing is I'm taking a multitask approach. I'm working on primary retailers, working on secondary market retailers, and I'm working on external resources such as grants, certified as a film-friendly city with the governor's office, and I'm focusing on existing business because they are the heart of this community. I thought about very carefully when we had the last meeting at the March 11th meeting, and it was brought to my attention on how we needed to progress to get more business in and quickly see how we can get the business in. And I started thinking that one of the primary entities that you need to really focus on and look at is your existing business, because those are your heartbeat. That is your heartbeat of your community. That is what's providing you resources right now and providing you with the taxpayer-based money to do what you're doing. And I've already hit 125 businesses as of yesterday to today. I've already gone all the way down 181, all the way from the beginning back there in Richardson to the end, and I'm already coming back this way and called and talked to everywhere. They're not called. Spoken to every single business owner, and I have stacks of business cards. And some of the comments they're telling me is that it is so glad and refreshing to see somebody out there contacting them in person. They didn't even know that some of the existing facade grants were out there. So we're going to get a flood of that. And they're also motivated to get things moving into the community. So we're embracing that. My next approach will be the downtown area, talking about the improvements we're going to be doing with the ADA sidewalks and things like that. But the other thing is this Saturday I'm going to be on a radio station, KLUP, and I'll be giving an address about the city of Floresville. We've already had some coverage in Bastrop with Spectrum News regarding the Film Commission. So now we're doing another one, and Judge, it's going to be County Judge Richard Jackson. He's going to be participating with me in this radio announcement that we're going to be making for the community. And it's called, basically it's called Talk About Texas. And Floresville is going to be showcased. So I'll be this Saturday talking about Floresville, some of the ideas, the movement we'll be making. So what we're trying to do is generate, what I'm trying to do for you is generate attraction to this community and have it looked at and have a spotlight shown on you. We're going to be working on possibly getting the police, we've been talking and coordinating with them in sense of talk right now. We're going to possibly be implementing some policies to where we can look at maybe a horse ridden by a patrol officer, which is a mounted police in the downtown area, to make it of a tourist attraction, so maybe you can get people on the weekends to start coming over, things like that. Later on, I'd like to address my board about some other things that we're going to be moving forward in. Now, real quick, on the retail side, the retail coach has contacted a total of 18 people. I have a copy of it. I don't want to go through it completely on you, but I have responses from people like A&W, Applebee's, Arby's, Big Lots, Burger King, Chili's, Denny's, Factory Connection, Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Board, Golden Corral, GameStop, Home Depot, IHOP. We have been contacting on that side, so we're taking a two-pronged approach there. They've given me the spreadsheet as to what things and the businesses are thinking and why they're not able to come. We're going to address those needs. Secondary to that, I've been working diligently on my side with contactees like Buc-ee's, and we're working on a parks development over here close by. We're doing an M2U02149 with Mark Farmer, who is a plant out of Pittsburgh. They're a sister plant to Mission Clay. And then I've contacted the Cadillac Bar and Grill, Bear Audio and Visual, Techstart Bank. We showed them the city last week. They may be interested in bringing another bank entity in here. Valero, we reinitiated contact. They were looking at putting in a production plant here in Floresville at one time. Unfortunately, that email got missed prior to me coming in. It's nobody's fault. It's one of those things that just happens. But I reinitiated contact with them. They have shown a renewed interest, and they may be looking at it. So I'm going to be meeting with them in the beginning of April to talk about possibly their endeavor in working with Floresville and doing something here big, nothing small.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Rodriguez.
And Mayor, that's it, pretty much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. And so I just wanted to give you a brief update. Later on, we can talk more, and my voice is going out as well, so please forgive me. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. John.
Moving on to our agenda item, consideration action to appoint members to the Floresville EDC.
Yes, there is a vacancy that was created when